Hey, BassGeek here, and when that deep bite gets tough, you better break out that Mag Neko Rig. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I'm somewhere and I'm talking to guys that like to fish, like Pickwick or Douglas or Chickamauga or any of these Tennessee River true ledge lakes, they despise it when I start asking them about this because they keep it very hush hush, very quiet. Now, I did a video on this last year, showed you kind of how I broke it down, how I did things, how I set it up. But guys, this may be one of the best well kept secrets, but in the circles, one of the most well known setups in deep water fishing. Now, before we jump into rod reel line setup, guys, make sure you go check out TRC Covers. You know I love them, okay? That's all I got to say. I'm dropping stuff everywhere. It's going in the water. The good thing about these going in the water is that the TRC covers float. So let's talk about rod reel line setup, guys. This is my worm rod from Okuma. Guys, I have been falling in love with Okuma's casting and spinning rods, okay? Their rods are top notch. I mean, top notch. Now, this says it is a frog and swim bait rod, but it is actually a 7.3 heavy, but you can throw a 1/4 to 2 ounces on it, okay? So, and it's just got, I mean, it's just got a great tip. It sets up perfectly with this rod. So I like to throw into brush piles, so I like a good heavy stiff action rod, 7.3, so that I can really winch those fish up out of there. Now, this is something that I'm going to tell you I probably wouldn't be throwing into brush piles, okay? Now, there is a way to rig it. It's called the chicken rig, and there is a way to rig it weedless. We'll talk about that in another video. Now, one thing that I would recommend that I didn't do, and I run off and left all my O-rings, okay, guys? I left all my O-rings at the house. So I would suggest for bait longevity, unless you're using some sort of Z-Mans or whatever other stretchy plastic that whatever company is using or that you like, I would suggest using O-rings, okay? So the very first thing I want to talk about, like I said, is the rod reel line setup. Generally, I'm going to throw 12 to 15 pound test on my worm rod. If I'm throwing it in a lot of cover, 15 pound fluorocarbon generally is my go-to. I don't throw braid because braid up against wood and blah blah blah. The only time I really ever throw braid is if I'm around a lot of grass. That's really the only time I ever throw it. So this is a Lew's speed spool, nothing fancy here. You know, what I call the workhorse of the bait casting real world, in my opinion. This is the workhorse. It's a 7.5 to 1. Bottom bouncing baits, you could go with an 8. As a matter of fact, bottom bouncing baits 90% of the time, the faster the better, unless you're in a lot of cover and you have to winch them out of there. I'll stay in that 7.5. But this is a great speed for that. 7.5 to 1. Lew's LFS. This is the Okuma Tournament Concepts. So the I think it's the TCP or something like that is what it stands for. But anyway, so the Tournament Concept rod, and like I said, this is a 7'3" heavy fast action, but you can throw as small as a 1/4 ounce on it. Now, let's talk about the bait itself. I love a Neko rig, whether it's a regular Neko rig or whether it's the Magnum Neko rig that you see here. And one of the reasons why I love a Neko rig is 110% because it's like a shaky head made love to a wacky rig, and you got a hybrid. So it'll sit on bottom like that, like a shaky head, and you can drag it. But when you lift it up, it's like a wacky rig. So you get that awesome, you know, twerking action out of it. The hook that I use is the Mustad. This is the Titan X Wacky slash Neko hook, okay? It's a straight shank hook, all right? You will get great hookups with this. Now, I use a lot of different worms. Use your favorite worms, but it's a Magnum worm. This, I'll have to put the company, I don't remember. This is actually a twist in, and I like the twist in because I like it as it's dragging across the bottom to make a little bit of noise. Neko weight, okay? Now, this probably wouldn't work if you're using some sort of big Elastec style bait. You'd want just something that you can push in. But this is a great setup. This is Richard's. I think this is his 12-inch worm. Again, Bass Munitions, I don't know what's happening there. Richard is doing better, for y'all that don't know. But he still just can't do the shop. It's the chemicals and stuff of the plastic just, you know, hurts him. But what I love about this is there's no salt in it. So when this bait is on the bottom, it will stand straight up. So it's not Elastec, but as long as there's no salt in a regular plastic, it will stand straight up. It does float. And so that's why I like that. That's the big version of it. But there's 2 or 3 different versions of worms that I use. This is a 7-inch. This is Richard's shaky head style worm. You can cut that down. Any sort of shaky head style worm tends to be my favorite. You can use, you know, hook tails, cut tails, whatever you like works well. Some colors, as you can tell, green pumpkin is a big favorite of mine. Green pumpkin is the go-to. Red bug is a great color, and of course that's the bullworm. I think this is the 10-inch bullworm. Let's see what else I got here. My other favorite worm is the Zoom Magnum trick worm. Now, I am going to show you something about this. You can get it saltless, okay? So it will also float. But if you see this, I don't know if you can see, it says super salted, okay? You can actually go online, see if they've got them, probably their website, and get these ones that doesn't say anything about salted on them, and they don't have, I don't know if they have 0 salt, but they don't have as much salt, and they do float up and stand on end, which is what I like about those. And that's what I like about a Neko rig. Again, my colors, that's watermelon red, red bug, green pumpkin. You know, I keep my colors really simple, so your favorite worm color for whatever water that you're working in should work fine. I almost stepped on it, and I ain't got no shoes on. But whatever color you like should work fine. For you, you know, a black worm in a little dirtier water will work great. All right, so let me go show you basically how to work this thing, and it's pretty daggum simple. All right, so the Mag Neko Rig, guys, it's really no different than fishing a regular Neko rig. You know, it's no different than throwing a shaky head out there. Maybe a little bit different, a Mag shaky head. A lot of times a Mag shaky head, I like to drag it. This, because it's got that wacky rig action to it. You know, I also want to make sure that I do give it some hops up off the bottom every once in a while. But again, it's just like anything else. You're going to take and you're going to let it sink to the bottom. And very easily, you're going to lift up until you feel it. You're just going to shake it a little bit. Shake that slack in the line. That's the key, slack in the line. You don't want to keep moving your bait. And then you drag it across the bottom. And like I said, that's kind of the predominant way. I'll shake that a little bit. And then the other thing, every once in a while, I just give it maybe 2-3 little twitches up. And let it fall back to the bottom. I just changed that up primarily. It's just I don't generally do just one with a Neko rig or the other. I don't generally just drag it, and I don't generally just hop it. Now, if I get the fish dialed in and they're keying in on the hop, of course I'm going to hop more than I drag. And you know, if they're wanting it drug, then you're going to drag it. Let the fish tell you what they want. When you're getting bites, pay attention to exactly what it is and when it is you're getting bit. Now, I will tell you something else, guys. Make sure you go check out my buddy Angler Tungsten. There is a discount code in the description. I think it's 20%, 10 or 20%. I can't remember. But one of the things you can do is take a tungsten nail weight. So before you actually add this on, you can shove a tungsten nail weight up in there. Say if you want a little quicker drop to the bottom, you can put more weight in. And the tungsten nail weights, what I like so much about them is you can actually put 2 or 3 in there, really get that sucker heavy. But that is my setup, minus those rings because I left them at the house today. So guys, go out and give it a shot. Like I said, everybody and their mama hates it when I start talking about this setup, because it's kind of like on the Tennessee River, it's kind of like this secret, not secret sort of thing. Anyway, as always, questions, comments in the comment section below. You guys know I love to talk about fishing with you. So ask me anything. Just say, hey, I appreciate it. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so that you get the notifications when these videos come out. And as always, you guys rock.